This is Sophie Aldred with The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Tell you about a story about a man named Jed. No, wait, that's the wrong story. That's the wrong story. Hello, fellow Whovians, and welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. I am your host, Paparazzo Dave Chapman. Our regular producer, Kristen's not here tonight, so I'm all alone. Well, I'm not all alone. I hate it when it's an automatic thing, and can I undo it? No, out, not in. Out, not in. I have to do it manually. So anywho, there we go. Hi. You got way more look at me than you wanted to, didn't you? That's okay. As I was saying, Christian's not here, so I'll be running things behind the scenes, bringing up your comments as we talk about the story in the engine. This past week's episode of Doctor Who Season 2 with Ncuti Gatwa. But I am, of course, not alone. Looking oh so excited. I have in the wings Reverend Amagon. Hey, Tom.
What am I, chop liver?
Oh, yes, right. I just forgot you had access to do that. If you'd like to do the comments, you can totally do the comments, Tom. Oh, Lordy. What have I gotten myself into? Welcome, producer Tom. That means I have to... Wait, does that mean I can do this? I can do this. I can... No. I can
Go
just
the other
throw
way.
Tom behind there.
Yes!
No, we don't have to look at him.
Behind the scenes.
No, we'll leave you in the everything. Except I have to... There we go. Stom, how you doing today?
Well, I'm on the square. I'm on the level.
This is good. This is good.
New TV came in, played my Ghost Blu-ray, so I'm happy.
Dum dum dum.
Because when you have Ghost, you have everything.
Exactly.
Speaking of Ghost,
and speaking of having everything, we have all of the candy with the Candy Man.
That is such a bad segue.
Yes.
You're trying.
Christian got here. Someone's got to do the bad segues, and it's better. It's still better than a Christian segue.
Don't worry, I'm just still trying to calculate my score on this episode because I have no idea what I'm going to give it.
Well,
I've watched it 3 times.
You said 7.33 or something.
I watched it once on Saturday. I watched it again on Saturday, and I watched it today, and I'm still not really convinced what's going on. So. Yeah, I'm good.
But he's got a manual calculator that he's trying to work things out on.
Yeah, old school solar power.
That's a funny looking phone.
Hello. Is Dave awake?
No.
Oh, sorry. No.
Nope. That was. I'm sorry. I slept it.
Poor old
I will attempt not to do that this coming week. Always have a level, always have a shovel, yep. And, of course, Grisbane Adams.
Dave, too.
Hello, good sir.
Hi.
Someone's high. Are you on the square? Are you on the level?
I don't know what that means.
It's going to be one of those days, folks. Woo!
Are you on the square right now?
Woo! So, we've also got coming up with the news here in momentarily. We'll have Gadget Pendragon. So, Tom, do you want to do that, or do you want me to bring up the title thing for it? I'm ready for it. I'll just
go for it.
Okay. That's the wrong thing. That was an overlay. That wasn't actually the video.
Timing.
This is what we wanted, actually.
Never ask the universe for big brothers. Never ask the universe for big brothers. You end up with a ton and everything.
Little sisters are way.
You guys are funny tonight and everything and stuff. And I'm picking up that story and I'm picking up this story tonight too and everything. But we got more news stories for you. It seems we have 2 cool birthdays. One, now those of you that grew up watching sci-fi and everything, and I lost the name of it because now I'm like, I cannot remember anymore because right now I am so tired because I have to bear with you guys. Had a little situation on Sunday. That's big news. So my hearing is a little off. So bear with me. It does hurt and everything. So basically, let's start. Would you guys want to give ladies first or gentlemen first?
Your pick.
Well, then we'll start with our own. I said it right with you guys. Varada Sethu? Yep. I got it? Okay.
Yay.
She celebrated her birthday on May 12th with her twin sister. Believe it or not, she does have a twin sister, and I cannot pronounce her name. I am so sorry. Makalla. But it's basically spelled Abhaya, and I'm thinking Abahaya or something like that. And they grew up basically where this was. I went to see this in Newcastle upon Tyne and everything. So that's interesting that I read a book about Newcastle, and she actually grew up in Newcastle and everything and stuff. And she's been in a lot of things. She's been in the movie Midsummer's Night's Dream. Mm-hmm. She's been in also, where is it? It's supposed to be Star Wars on Disney Plus, Andor from 2022 to 2025. And basically, this is not the only Doctor show she's been in. She was also in 2 episodes of Dr. Foster. And many of you don't realize you saw her already in, where is it? Now You See Me 2, which now they have Now You See Me, Now You Don't movie coming out and everything and stuff. Who knows? She might be in that one and everything. But she celebrates her 33rd birthday with her sister this past May 12th and everything. And I am just like I said, give me a chance to catch up because my ear just went. Basically, our next birthday is Bruce Boxleitner. He turned 75 on the same day, May 12th, and everything. Many of you know him from your sci-fi series such as Tron, Babylon 5, as well as basically Tron Uprising and How the West Was Won. But I remember him from Tron and Scarecrow and Mrs. King. And I used to love watching Scarecrow and Mrs. King. It was really fun and everything and stuff. And he got to pose with the TARDIS and everything. Now our next one would be I did it wrong again. Let's not kill her name. Belinda will be posing with it soon once we can get a hold of her and everything and stuff. But that's it for the birthdays because the news is light today because the only other thing ties into a spoiler tonight and everything. Do you want me to reveal the spoiler or?
I have no idea.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, well, if you are a fan of... forewarning, it's a spoiler. Good, you guys got it. It seems that it ties into tonight's episode because Big Finish, if you're a fan of it, just is going to be releasing this July The Fugitive Doctor, Doctor Who Dead or Alive. And it's going to be the full audio drama cast with Joe Martin and Alice Kierge, if I'm saying it right. And along the way, it's a Spitfire, fun-filled ride of everything, dodging the pursuer, Cosmogon, played by Alice Kierge, known for her role in Star Trek franchise and everything. And hopefully you guys will pick up on the Fugitive Doctor series because her story is not over yet and everything. And basically, we have another situation going on and everything. How do we put it? Everyone is going to be upset, but unless you have Disney Plus or iPlayer and everything, you're not going to be able to watch the episode of Doctor Who next week and let me say it right, you guys told me it was FA Cup. Everything runs over, as well as Eurovision music show and everything and stuff. So there is a 7-minute window between everything, but it won't. Both shows will be live, and they're probably going to run into each one simultaneously. There's so many things going on. They're trying to get Doctor Who out, but it's probably better just to let it go after. You know what I mean? If they did programming right, it would be nice if they could put it after the shows and everything, after the live one. That way, more people can stay up late like we have to and everything and stuff when we watch the ones on Disney Plus at 3 a.m. and everything and stuff. But yeah, it's basically going to be possibly not aired if this thing runs over. And
football almost always does.
Yeah, it depends also. And if you're a fan of American soccer or the rest of the world football and everything, you'll like it, especially since there's a lot of gameplay with everything and stuff. And I have a few people that are from the family are like into it very much so, and they are driving me nuts over there in Europe, especially the Irish side, the British side, the Japanese side, and everything. Everybody's driving me nuts with this game, and I still don't understand it.
Don't worry, I'm British and I still don't understand it.
Okay, good. I am like, because it's so big.
Okay, I'll fill it in. Basically, what it is the FA Cup final happening this Saturday. So if it's a draw at the end of the full regulation minutes, it will go into extra time. If it goes into extra time, Doctor Who will be pulled. However, if a team wins in their first regulation minutes, so we've got more goals than the other team, then Doctor Who will be on. So it's possible that Doctor Who may be pulled.
And could you tell us who's playing?
Yeah, I think it's Crystal Palace and Manchester City.
Oh God, it's Manchester. Oh no.
Yeah, Manchester City, not Manchester United.
No, There's
However,
a thing about Manchester in here.
however, I know that
Mhm.
Ncuti, if it goes to plan, as in the game doesn't go into extra time, the next week episode will link into Eurovision Song Contest,
Mhm.
and there is rumours that Ncuti might be appearing on the actual live show as well.
Of the
It's
Eurovision.
sort of, it's
Cool.
sort
On
of,
the Eurovision one, not on
sort
the
of might be confirmed. It's sort of in the air right now. It might be and everything, but and this is another thing I was going to bring up about the rumors. People, please stop with the rumors. Everybody I know wants to know what's going to happen with Ncuti if he's regenerating. There's 4 different endings. We don't know yet and everything. And that's one of the rumors out there, that Billy Piper is going to be the next Doctor, because they said they cast the Doctor's female next and everything. Hey, I would say Michelle Gomez, because he remembers the face. You know, if you're gonna go that route, you know what I mean? Michelle Gomez, right? The Master's face. Let's make it that way, you know, because everyone's been pondering everything. They said the person premiered at the BAFTAs, but the only thing at the BAFTAs that I've heard is that they were talking about an actor there who's supposed to be in The Land and the Sea. And basically, he didn't say much about it. He just wanted to promote what he was promoting and was nominated for at the BAFTAs and everything for television.
Yeah. And if people don't understand what BAFTAs is, it's like the Oscars for UK TV.
Or the Grammys and and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a big award ceremony in the UK for British television.
And again, my friend Joshua did the suits for David Tennant and everybody else there. So shout out to Joshua and everything and stuff, because those suits came out really nice. All the clothing, whoever dressed everybody was really on point and stuff.
And our last little bit of news.
Yes.
We're not quite there.
We're getting there.
It is slightly higher than that. I think it was actually
I'm checking right now too. I want to go back in and check real quick just to be safe.
Updated the numbers to 59,986 just before we went up, and I had already loaded this. I'm not reloading it.
I don't blame you.
So we need 14 more people to like, comment, and subscribe.
Well, to subscribe specifically, yes.
Yep.
Plus another 40,000 on top of that.
14 more people subscribe before the end of the show. We will let you know, and we will.
Well, the thing is this too. I even told you guys, if you make 100,000 subscribers, I am trying to figure out how to get to you guys, because Christian wants to see me, and I'm like, the only way I can make it a good excuse is that we have to be live all together for that 100,000 while we're holding up the damn YouTube thing.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I hope we can figure it out, because I can't believe we're getting this far in this much time.
Exactly. I slowed down a little bit, but not too bad. So we'll do the thing here and officially end the news. We'll just do this. Boom.
And then we'll continue our stories.
Exactly, because that is what today is all about, is stories. And let's see what everybody's numbers were. If you're watching us at home, please make sure you throw what your score is in the comments, and we'll star it and come back to it a little bit later. But Tom, what do you give the episode, the story in the engine?
Slightly higher than Mark.
Oh, Jesus.
So there's that. I hear the drums again. So 7.777.
7.77. All right. Let's see if he's made his goal of being higher than Mark. Mark, is math still happening?
It's not working.
There's no sun over there. It's dark.
You need the heart of the TARDIS.
Yeah, don't use a solar calculator at night time. It doesn't work.
Get a flashlight. Where's mine?
Well, flashlight? You mean a torch?
Yes.
Flashlight.
A torch. I don't know. Slightly less than Tom. I'll give it 7.3.
7.33.
7.3. All right.
Recurring.
3. I need a number for reoccurring. I'm not going to put it in there. Don't care. And Grisbane Adams, are you going to mess with us more and cut up another target?
It's no, I'm not going to mess with you. 9.8.
9.8. Very cool. All right.
Very excellent.
And
I was gonna do a 9, but he beat me.
9 from the gadget. All right. So what we're going to do is we're not quite at commercial break, but we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we'll take a look at these numbers. And the first one to go gets to be Mark.
Hey.
So you've got a whole whopping commercial break to figure out what the heck you're doing.
Yeah, I know.
Woo! And while we're on the topic, woo! So what we'll do is we will scroll up.
Yeah, the tree.
Yeah, we'll put this up so that when I screw it up, we're not all just staring into nothingness. And
We might as well Saturday.
when we return, stay tuned and become part of the legend.
Are you a movie nerd? Do you collect VHS, DVDs, CDs, records, and so much more? Are you looking for clothing from 1940s to 2000s? Do you need cosplayer themed outfits? Come to Ducky's Vintage. We have it all for all budgets, located at the Oviedo Mall right off of the 417. Ducky's Vintage for those born in the wrong decade.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erica Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels.
Greetings, travelers. Join us as we travel through folklore, myths, monsters, legends, and dark history.
Now, we'll be your guide to the spooky side of reality as we discuss cryptids, paranormal, and all things preternatural.
Sometimes we find the truth is way scarier than fiction.
We're on twice a week on your favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube.
We have amazing guests from all of the areas of the strange and unusual, including witnesses, investigators, and more.
Yeah, with Erica's curiosity and ridiculous array of pop culture and true crime knowledge.
And Mark's decades of experience diving into folklore and the legends with the truth that's behind them.
Yeah, so join us, travelers, as we take you to the edge of reality, and we'll see you on the other side.
Okay, that's good enough. We don't need a whole 3 seconds. Welcome back, everybody. Now, I do want to say, Mark Muncy is a wonderful friend of the show. His new book, The Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains is coming out in June. So definitely check Amazon for that and pre-order it if you can. I think you can.
I think you can.
But-
I think you can. I think you can. I think you can.
I think you can. I think you can. I got to read an advanced copy of it, and it is all sorts of fabulous. Love it. So definitely support Erie Travels if you want a different sort of travel book. All right. So we that little bit of hype and promo done. Let's take another look and see here at 7.3333333333333333 recurring. Candyman.
Yes.
You get to go first, which is extra fun because you already said you were having a hard time deciding what to rate this sucker.
The problem I found with this is there's like three things I'm looking at is like the set, the storyline, and like Time Lord lore. You know what I mean? What I can't even say the word. Just like it doesn't match up with previous stories, stuff and everything like that. So, on a whole, the actual episode itself, I reckon I would give it 8.9. Like the philosophical questions it was asking, the like stories versus gods, does human make stuff, for trust, for weakness. Do you basically sacrifice your friendship to save other people? All that mild questions were really, really good in this story. But then there were certain things where he started to remember a face from the fugitive doctor when his mind's been wiped, which is completely lower. And that does not make sense. Or is he getting his memories back? And that's where it starts getting all the confusion. So to me, that dropped it down to about a 2.3. But I like it was filmed in Africa. Well, some shots were filmed in using drone footage over Lagos in Nigeria. I think what really done me a little bit to give it more of a negative view was it felt very much set base. Like it would have been better if they did everything actually on location. I know costs and availability, but that would give it more of a feel because it just felt like it was a bit wooden. For sets where like when there was in the market playing Afro beats and stuff like that, that was so cool. You got into it and stuff like that. And then when you walk around the corner down the alleyway, it's just like, oh, this is just another BBC studio set. It doesn't have that right feel. So there used to be a show in the UK on Channel 4 called Desmond's. And this episode reminded me a little bit of Desmond's. I'm not sure if you guys ever got it over in there. So Desmond's was basically like a barber shop in Southeast London where people would it's a sitcom comedy, would just take the mickey. It is very, very dated, okay, because it's from the late 80s, early 90s. So it's very, very
look at this screen. I don't think that was ever in question.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. You can still see the shell suits on some of them.
No.
But it just reminded me when people just used to go to the salon or the barbers just to have a chat, just to chill out, just relax, become a family. Even when I was a kid going down to Southeast London, I used to go to my dad used to take me to their hairdressers called Sam's, and we literally spent all day in Sam's, the hairdressers, just around the corner on Old Kent Road, just talking. And it was just literally like family, just walking in, walking out, walking in, walking out. It was just like, it is a community spirit. So I could understand this whole show. But then it was just like, okay, so we talked the spiders, we got the energy, we need the stories, the power of the stuff. The special effects of going through the stories right at the beginning was absolutely fantastic. It just seems like the special effects is like here, set design is about there. And I just wish it can be like leveled out like they did in the well set design actually worked really well. The other thing which was also keep confusing as well is when he was talking about the stories, it showed the ship of the cinema and the spaceship, which was exactly the same design as the first two stories of this show, which I thought was quite good. I love the political thing about braiding the maze and the slave basically using secret code to basically find a way home. Thought that was lovely. I think it was trust. It's just one of these, like, I don't know where it was going. Was it the guy actually immortal? Was he just basically working for the gods and became immortal? There's so many questions which were unanswered in this episode. And that's why I've just given it a low score of 7.3.
I can get that. It was an interesting episode. It's an episode you could not get with any other Doctor, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's, definitely had a different feel to it. I do know that the writer was Ncuti Gatwa was like, please get this writer on board when talking to RTD. And RTD had just seen a West End play that he had written about a barber shop and had in his head, gee, I wonder what it would be like if the Doctor walked into it. Like, that was in his head as he watched this play. And so when he called him up, he's like, please come work for us. And he's like, yes, of course. So that's kind of where it came from, is a combination of multiple people saying he needs to write for the show and doing such a great job of that.
I was thinking, with all the money that Disney's had, it could at least be actually done on proper location rather than just studio set.
I don't disagree with that. I do. Well, I mean, I'll probably come back to this, but in case I don't, definitely some of the back room scenes and stuff definitely felt like 10-11 era.
Yeah.
The engine room and then the storage area and all that. That felt very much more like the old school New Who, which was a nice change. I did like that.
I must admit,
as we've both said, a lot of this Disney era has seemed too clean.
Yeah.
And this felt a little bit more worn.
It did, but also it didn't. It felt a little bit fake when I kept on rewatching it. What I mean by fake, not the actual story fake, but just the set. It felt like it was put up in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Okay. I disagree, but that's
fine.
That is the joy of this entire episode. Is we can.
Yeah, no,
we can
that's
do
fine. That. Like compared to the well would look like it's worn and battered, and it was really, really good. This looked like it was worn, but still new.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain. It didn't feel
well maintained.
It just didn't feel like it was a barbershop in Lagos, Nigeria.
That's fair.
Not that I've never been to Lagos, Nigeria, but it didn't have that feel, that character, should I say?
Okay. Set. No, and that part of the set, okay, I can get that. I can get that. Tom, our wonderful Tom.
Well, I've never been to Spain. Anyway.
Good, because this episode has nothing to do with Spain. But you did give it a 7.77, trying to go below mark and failing. What did you have to... Why did you give it what you did, give or take a few decimal points?
Well, because I knew what Mark said, because I watched the watch party. Afterwards.
Sorry. I know, I didn't. I'm sorry.
No, it's it happens, David.
I fell asleep. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry to everybody. I'm sorry to everybody who showed up for the watch party.
Fault.
And
I'm thinking that's what's causing the ratings to drop, because nobody's up at that hour.
Entirely my fault for having not shut for that. So I apologize. I thank you, Mark and Tom, for jumping in. And well, Tom for watching, and Mark for jumping in and hosting that show for us. Christian was able to get up and happened to catch it as well. So I appreciate that. But going back, Tom, you were saying.
Well, I got it 2 days later, but I'm just saying.
Yes.
And I don't want to Oh, I would say it on my show, not on Spill the Geek Tea, but Tasty Talk with Tasty Cake. I gotta say, Disney, without saying it, will spend money on other things. That's all I can say. Oh, that needs something there. Well, it's on the budget. I said it. Okay, that's not that. It's just the way it is. That's why everything looks the way it does. It's money, and money goes to, oh, let's do this, let's do that. So that's understandable. The whole backlot thing. Say, I'm used to the backlot, walking around doing things here and there. So that didn't really bug me. The fact that Dr. felt in this incarnation somewhere he can go to feel accepted because of all the ridicule, all the racism, everything that's going on. He felt good. But then when everything started coming about, he lost faith in the man. So what can I do? There's nothing you can do. So I understood that. The spider thing, yeah. It freaked me out seeing the spider for the first time on the preview, but watching it, it's so animated, it didn't bug me as bad as seeing something like a model from Planet of Spiders, or when the moon cracked open everywhere. Even the spiders in the UK, arachnids in the UK, didn't bug me that much. I'm kind of weaning, but if I do see a spider, it's dead. So that's
fire, kill it with fire.
Hey, wrong one. I was kind of hoping a friend of mine would have given me a review, so I would have read it for her, because this is okay. So I enjoyed the idea, the old going through the markets like that. The closest thing we had in Florida back in the day was Florida Festival. It was set up that way. You just see everything. You felt like you were in a different country. Everything's so beautiful, so nice, and everyone's so gathering together. Everyone's so happy. It was an honest, enjoyable time when everything was just so. No one was overwhelmed by information and everything else. You just took some time away and you felt good. The wholesomeness, I guess. That's why I enjoyed that part. The hair thing is like, okay, had to fit in, and that dude being the villain, say he wants to be everything that the gods were, but oh yes, and the next picture is that
It is.
That's all I can think of.
It is. It's the cuteness.
And it's right in the credits. It is the same small actress. It is labeled as Poppy. That is Captain Poppy.
Because that's what everyone's saying. It's like, wait a minute,
because
it was in the credits, so it's definitely confirmed that is the same character. We don't know why, but it's definitely there.
Wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Exactly.
Everything in season one is happening in season two for most parts. So little bits and pieces. Oh yeah, because maybe just for the visual effect. Varada is she's a very nice visual effect in my home. So the idea of trying to go through the storytelling, yes, like Mark says, it's the way things were is decent, when everything was honest, everything in its aspect. You tried to make things nice to get away from it all. So you just tell stories, remembering how things were good and honest, at least in our minds. And then the villain comes in, say, I want to do all these things, and with the goddess, that was like, okay, how do I remember you? How do I remember you? Oh, and then bring in Joe Martin. So, how did that happen with she being part of Big Finish? But I'm glad it did. It was fitting for the story, keeping it together. I couldn't bring you in with me because of this and that, and still throws in that mystery. So would we get a Big Finish audio? That would be nice. It's always possible. So I just 7.77 because it was just, for me, very honest, very something family orientated, I guess, to watch. Feel good times. Because it was a 10. No, I guess I was looking for him. I don't know what I was looking for, but I just wanted to be above Mark a little bit. I don't know. He said 7.3. I said 7.77. So my numbers don't really make a difference. It is all part of if you like it or not. At least watch something one time and watch it again just to get it through your head. Say, well, what about this? Why didn't you like it the first time? And you'll go into detail. So me, I just it felt good. The whole guy trying to become something that's trying to overpower the greater ones, and then it's like, if you destroy them, what good are you? And at the end, saying, he became an honest man. So I like that. It gave a happy ending. Mrs. Flood throwing in there, said, okay, got to throw in there one way or another, so they did.
Yeah. But I like that they just kind of brought her back to where she was kind of previously.
Yeah.
And he cried again in this episode as well.
Didn't even notice it.
Didn't notice it because he's heartfelt about the whole thing, but I didn't see a tear. I honestly didn't. I just like...
He wasn't actually teared down his thing, but his eyes were watering up.
It's... Yeah. Because that was his home. Place where he can go. Oh, auntie, oh, uncle. He's fitting in. And to be lied to be trapped in there, say, how could he do that? But it was all for a reason. But he got through it, saved the day, and that's what I like. A nice, happy ending.
Alex Forever said Captain Poppy could be the timeless child. We know that is not the case. That has been dealt with
There's
already.
more to it than meets the eye.
Fugitive Doctor. That could be interesting. That could be plausible. Garbage says, "Hail, chat." Hi, Garbage.
What was that woman's name again? Garbage.
That's one thing I did mention on the watch party, which I didn't mention in my thing, is that when we were younger, did we used to call everyone by auntie and uncle?
Yes.
And now no one does it.
Only in certain cultures.
Yeah, we've sort of lost it. And I don't know why.
My uncle's godmother was Auntie Thora, and everything. And she wasn't related to us. It was always auntie and uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I was just looking at that. Raj brings that up. Question is, how exactly did 15 have Joe Martin's doctor's memories after what Division did to them?
That's what I was trying to say.
No. I have a theory.
Knows, but she's not saying.
Like
I have a theory.
And the whole episode seemed like a strange tribute to Gaiman's and Assie's boys, which is entirely plausible. I mean, that is the
hi, Mark.
African god of stories. So that Anansi does come up, as does Anansi's daughter. So we do get to deal with that. Now, since you're very much ready to jump all over things, Gadget,
well,
you gave it a 9.
Yes.
Go. Just go.
Well, because one, I grew up hearing the stories from the Shanachie and everything. And a lot of you don't realize that oral tradition runs not only through African tradition, but it runs through Celtic tradition, which is my Irish heritage, Celtic and Druid traditions, as well as storytelling through Japanese traditions, as well as everything, including the hair braiding, because every culture had a reason for the hair braiding and everything. Messages were sent to warriors and soldiers in China through the Mongolian Empire and everything. Celtics would use it to develop nature and the centricities of like the circles of nature and everything. And then you had the slaves that used it to send messages because some couldn't read or they needed to get their message out there to be safe and everything and stuff. So that's why I was liking the fact that they were bringing in all that, as well as like it's a change for our doctor because now we get to see a side of him that most don't get to see. And he got to, if you come to New York, you see those stalls all the time. You go right to Fordham Road and everything, and you're walking through a shanty town. You're walking through like a flea market type thing and stuff like that. No matter what you do, you're seeing people peddling things and stuff like that. So that was second nature to me, the doctor walking through Auntie and everything, because you do meet people on the street and you know them from, like, if you're getting out of work, oh, I'm buying from your fruit stand, or I'm buying from this and everything. And to have family, we had the movie Barbershop, and and also trying to think of Barbershop with the one with Queen Latifah and everything and stuff.
Barbershop 2.
That was it. Okay, yeah. Because no, I thought they had another name because there was another one that Tyler Perry even had done and everything.
Barbershop 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
And basically, so I grew up knowing all this because especially like the Italian hairdresser, this, everything, you would tell stories and everything. But my grandfather, my granddad was one of the Shanakis. He used to tell stories, the old stories of Ireland and the Celts and everything. And that made me feel like it was really cool. But to have the betrayal when you find somebody that's close to you, trust me, I know what betrayal is and everything. It's like you think you can trust somebody and then all of a sudden they stab you in the back and everything. And then it's up to you to decide if you're going to forgive them or not after you see why they stabbed you in the back. Because it could have been malicious or it could have been, I have no choice. And he had no choice and everything. And then you have the TARDIS knowing that something is wrong, telling Belinda and everything, okay, all right. And she's trying to figure out and says, locate. She remembered what he said and she was able to go after him and everything. And it being a timey-wimey thing where it's bigger on the inside technically, but not really because it was mostly a transfixed time, meaning different time, different space. And I'm trying to remember how they called it in there and everything. And to see the stories on the screen was the projection of the mechanical spider because this gentleman felt that he was owed something. This gentleman felt that he was there to collect this because that the gods had wronged him. They forgot about him because there was a soothsayer or a Shanaki that became a god by one of the other gods to keep telling their stories so that they would live on and everything. And when it comes to now meeting Anansi's daughter and everything, I think the reason why there's a glitch in the Matrix and he remembers is because when the split happened, it reset everything. Because I was told to watch, because that takes place in 2019. What took place in 2019? The female doctor and everything, and these episodes and everything. So I'm like, okay, let me see. You have two doctors and everything. What if she comes from this doctor's line and that doctor goes to the past? That's why they couldn't take Anansi because that was the doctor's past and everything and the fugitive and everything and stuff. So this could have been a split that caused the fugitive doctor. And then Poppy showing up, like he said at the end, stories start to bleed in. It could be maybe Poppy was monitoring because there is a cute shot. I don't know if you guys have seen it where the doctor is holding Poppy. And I was thinking, oh, grandfather and granddaughter or daughter and father and everything. What if she becomes, or absorbs the energy like River did or, however it happens and everything and stuff, and from traveling with them and stuff, maybe she's a link that we don't know about yet, or is she the key to the story? Maybe she's telling the story or anything. But it was funny how Belinda was the only one that saw her, and they could have done more with Belinda's scene in the market. I know they wanted to show the writer, like his little scene and everything and stuff and everything of the episode, give him his props and everything. But I would have loved to see more like her interaction of asking what's going on, where's the stories, and then she sees the wanted, like the missing posters, like and everything, the wants these that they were looking for people and everything and stuff. And wanting to know where's the doctor, but if she had did not close that door, they could have got out. That was the only reason why I didn't give it a 10, because keep the door open and run out, and everything. But I did like that they did the braids to give the map and everything. And it was just, a lot of it was logic based, like try to trick the trickster and everything and stuff, and stuff like that. But we won't know until the next couple of episodes. But I did like seeing Poppy because it does lead into something. And the doctor talking about Belinda the way he does, like, does she mean more because of that time jump and everything? Plus, we don't even know when they got the map for the robots revolution and everything. So everybody talking about Joe Martin showing up, the fugitive doctor, we've got a lot of wibbly wobbly time in the episodes in this and everything. I love that picture. That, like, why wouldn't she do that for him? He helped her, so why not help find him?
Yeah.
And then you had the tree. And then you had the tree of knowledge, all the books and everything and stuff, And he saw Hemingway's books there and everything. And tell me a story. How many words can you tell me a story? And then he gave it a name. He gave it power. That person, because they didn't have a name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's telling a story too.
I love that you mentioned the tree of knowledge, because I noticed that immediately when it. In fact, I
Mhm.
thought that before I realized that it was a brain.
Right.
And a heart.
Well, Lucy, Mike, that's what I was trying to hint about that, because that
Yeah.
is books are your knowledge. Didn't the 10th Doctor say books were a weapon?
Yep. And so with that, Grisbane Adams, you gave it a good 9.8.
I did.
Missed. Why not 10?
I considered giving it a 10 because it is on one level it is about as perfect as I could expect anything to be, but there are a couple of minor things about it that I think could have been resolved. Notably, I think it just feels like Belinda is supernaturally patient at this point. She didn't want to be a companion. She just sort of accidentally ended up with the Doctor. She wants to go home, and she's still being friendly and happy and enjoying herself, even as he arses about the cosmos. And yes, partially this is in service of getting her home, but not as directly as I feel any reasonable person would expect any effort to be. And I mean, that's the bulk of it. Of my issues with it is that felt shoehorned in. Also it's largely. One of the things I love about the episode is that it is essentially conceptual. I mean, it's not quite, but almost a bottle episode. It is about ideas on multiple levels. I mean, it's about storytelling, but also it is mostly dealing in ideas. And then it really feels like the action sequences kind of had to be shoehorned in because, well, that's the brand. We have to run at some point. We can't just have like intense thematic depth and conversations with high stakes. We have to run, so let's just make sure we got that in there. But I mean, the rest of it, like I said, I love it. I mean, there are ways in which most of the I would say that this is an episode that was made specifically for me for the most part. Because it's about storytelling and the power of stories and using that on multiple metaphorical levels. The entire idea of stories being an energy source of both literal energy source for the actual vehicle that they're traveling in, but also, they are the foundation of reality, in essence. They form the power. I mean, none of the gods were gods until they had stories. All the power of the gods comes from the stories that they tell, that are told about them, that are repeated, etc. And that is, in multiple ways forms the spine of the episode, including the Barber's motivations for why he feels he has been wronged in these people who have taken his creation and profited from it without having lifting him up with them, and that's a remarkably important concept. Also, just within the arts, and especially the arts with respect to Black culture, I know a lot of Black artists take specifically, just as Ncuti did with Ellams, when you hit it, it is your responsibility to reach back and grab everybody you can to bring with you, because that community has such a difficult time getting heard in the first place. And that idea of being left behind by people you made powerful, it's particularly evocative in that context as well. Other things that, of course, they're just made for me. I have had a fascination with the various African cultures for, the entire time you've known me, basically. Dang near 25 years, actually 26 years now.
Old man.
It's around the same time that I started getting into studies in African cultures all over the continent, mostly Southern African and Western, but just a huge thing for me. It's as the Reverend pointed out, everybody wins in this one. I like those episodes. I'm big on episodes where everybody comes out ahead, and not just that, but we've referred to the Barber as the villain a few times in this, but he's not really a villain. He's just wounded, and he does wrong, but I don't know if he entirely heals within the episode, but he is on the path to healing, and that creates the redemptive, or the possibility of redemption that he enjoys at the end, as does Omo, who dragged the Doctor into this, semi-inadvertently, but mostly intentionally, because it's the only way that he could possibly get out of it. And as much as he did betray the Doctor in doing that, the Doctor forgives him, because that is what you do with the people you love. And so he gets to have that sort of redemption, and passes it on to the Barber by giving him the barber shop at the end, or employing him in the barber shop at the end. I mean, there's so much more I could go into about it, but I won't. It's just, I loved the episode. I thought it was fantastic. I love how many different levels it actually is of its setting. I don't hold it against it that it wasn't filmed in Lagos, just because it's mostly a bottle episode. It takes place in this one facility, and I'm okay with that. I can see where Candyman's coming from on that, but I also, I just don't hold it against it. So yeah, it's just different opinion. And I think that I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but I think that this is the episode where we're starting to move towards the end of the season. I mean, of course, I'm sure there are going to be elements that build toward it, but without actually potentially ruining the end of the series, of this series for anyone, I think this is the one that's going to have the major philosophical concepts that contribute to the final episodes. And I'm kind of excited by that as well.
Yeah, no, this is definitely an interesting. A lot. I agree with kind of everything you said.
Yes.
Well, you should, because I'm right.
It's true. And again, this is why I got you on this show, is because you have this habit of being right and stuff.
You may be right. I may be crazy.
I mean, we already know that.
But no.
I actually can't remember the next line of that song, but or else I'd say it. But yeah.
Here's a question for the panel and for people in the audience. Do you think the Doctor was right to be angry at Omo, or do you think that was just him being like a douche for that moment, because I think Omo was right, because he's calling a member of his tribe or his community to help him out. So I don't think the Doctor should have been that angry at him. What do you guys think?
I think that you're right, but also I see a contrary. Basically, this is the Doctor's safe haven. As much as we would all generally think that the TARDIS is, this is the one place where he's not alone. He has a sort of makeshift family that is somewhat consistent, and he feels safe there. He doesn't have to work. I mean, he worked the first time he visited, and that's how he created it. And so I think that that's the betrayal, or that's what feels like betrayal to him, even though this is what he does. Next.
So may just be a lunatic you're looking for.
Thank you. Yes, right.
But to me, I feel like if you're part of a family or part of a community, that you're going to help. If that community is in trouble, you're going to stick by them and try to help them out.
Not under deception.
But was it under deception? Did he just went, okay, can you come over?
Yeah, right.
Or did the Doctor just turn around and say, you know what, I want to go to the Barber's? I think that was the difference. That's why I was starting getting a little bit like, well, Dr.
Or was it telepathic? Was he contacting the Doctor telepathic when he paused right there when Belinda said, take me home, you know? And then he went, I got an idea. Was it telepathic? Was Omo talking to him telepathically?
But Omo's human, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think what Gadget's saying is more of a the request echoed through the ages, and the Doctor picked up on it like a wireless receiver type thing, possibly. But no, I think your point is well taken. It's just, are you doing cocaine?
Oh, I had it on mute. I was on mute. Oh my god!
I was waiting for somebody to look at him like, "What the heck is he doing?"
You've heard of spray cheese in a tube in a spray can. Well, now you got cocaine in a spray can.
Hey, it's legal here.
No, I definitely think that you're onto something there, Candyman. Because yeah, I mean, there is no. I think he hoped that the Doctor would arrive, and maybe that starts the dynamic, and the Doctor perhaps somewhat unreasonably expected to be visiting without purpose, and expectations and human messiness are kind of what causes that conflict. Because I think you are definitely onto something where no, he isn't right to be upset by that.
No. And this is what I like about it. I think whatever Tom's doing, I'm not sure what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I think is he vacuuming his desk?
He's vacuuming. Yeah, he sprayed cocaine everywhere, and now he's vacuuming up the leftovers. Now he's cleaning up the screen a little bit. There we go.
Because even what I think
are you getting himself a haircut?
Maybe. Don't need one. But I think that it showed a lot more character for Omo to apologize first. Because I think, to me personally, I think the Doctor was wrong in this case. And that's hard for me to say that. But
I really like that's something I hadn't thought about, and I like it. I do like that, yeah.
Because it did say he hadn't been in years, he hadn't been in whatever, he didn't know what was going on.
Exactly. And we know that the TARDIS normally takes the Doctor to certain places when that place is in trouble. So is it the Doctor going, okay, let's have hello with the TARDIS saying, right, your friend's in trouble, you need to help him out. He walks into Barber's, and then, oh, great, you're here, you can help us. Oh, and then the Doctor goes, oh, you'll be betraying my trust. It's like, for that moment, I think the Shooty's Doctor was really good, but for that one point, I thought it was just been a little bit of a douchebag.
I kind of agree. I think
I still think it was. That
I don't disagree with his reaction.
No, his reaction was perfect.
But he was wrong in reacting that way, and he recognized that and adjusted it later. We're seeing cracks, and I've commented on this in the last couple of episodes, or at least a couple of them over the season. We're seeing cracks in that. I don't want to call it a facade, but in the positivity of this Doctor. We've had a lot, the first season was very positive Doctor, and now we're seeing a little shinings of that temper, little shinings.
Valley Yard.
Things are coming through. And I have to wonder if that is a subtle, intentional subtle, or just happens to be the case. As far as mine, I am not sure what number to give it. I was going to give it a 7. I think I'm actually going to give it an 8. And based on a lot of what Mr. Adams there had to say, kind of just bumped it up. I agree. I love the mythology of Africa. I think it was brilliantly done. I love that they tied in with Saga and other story, Loki and other story gods.
Mm-hmm.
I love the overlaying of the different bases. I love that he pretended to be those gods, and the Doctor just kind of went, no.
Especially when we went to see the Marvel movie with, and said Thor's arms were too small.
I loved that. That was great, and we made.
I really loved that because I like mentioned Gaiman and Anansi Boys and even American Gods. Like, it's way too common for just, oh well, this god, that god. No, I'm the power behind the god. And I really loved. I was just like, I kind of rolled my eyes every time somebody mentioned a Nancy related to this episode until I saw it, and then that redeemed it for me in that respect, because he's not the god. He's this frankly nobody. He's a nobody that wants to be a god because he is the source of all of their power. He's love
basically
that.
A Renfield.
Yes, exactly.
He's a pawn. I did love, and this has been traveling through Twitter and I'm sure other places as well. But I drank with Dionysus. That had to be the third Doctor.
Definitely.
Because of all of the Doctors, he was the one who's drinking the most wine on camera. 11 just spit it out. 9 spit out the brandy. 1 just flat out said, "I don't touch the stuff," except when he does. So no, it was very much. It was got to be Pertwee that drank with Dionysus.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved a lot of details. I wish they had kept more. Like, I loved how they've done this a couple of times in this era, where they've used that cold opening to transition into the theme. And I love that they did that on the window images. I do wish that they had done a little bit more with. And did I pull that picture up? And there we go. With the African style art, which I loved.
Well, they did have the prequel that if you were able to watch the prequel and everything.
I'll have to look. I'll have to look for that. But yeah, but with this, it was great, and I wish they had put a little bit more of that into some of the stories. Like, it was important to point out that the Doctors, and they pointed it out, that the Doctor's stories were like television, that they were live, that they were real people, not animation, animations of whatever sort created them. But it would have been nice to have started maybe those stories with that artwork. Same thing with that transition into the TARDIS moving. I would have loved to have seen that in the animated and then transition through.
Actually, I think you're on a point there, Dave. I think it'd be awesome if we did see the Doctor in that African artwork. Could that be something completely new?
You just gave every Etsy creator an idea.
Yeah, I mean, we got a little bit of the Doctor sticking out of the TARDIS.
A little bit.
The front door open with the hose pipe.
and I put these pictures up when Grisbane was talking here, but this is Barbershop Chronicles. This was Inua and Ellams' play about a barbershop that had RTD going, hey, what if the doctor walked in here? So this was a lot of that inspiration.
I wonder if you got the idea. I wonder if you got the idea from Desmond's.
It's plausible. Who knows? It was pointed out in the comments somewhere that this was a love letter to Nigeria, which is important to remember as well, because there is a lot of culture there, and a lot of superstition and a lot of mythology comes out of
not to judge a book by its cover
specifically. So this was the perfect episode for that.
I think this is the first ever Doctor Who episode that is set in Africa.
I believe so, and that's unsurprising, just given the fact that it's always been white doctors. What are you going to get out of that story? By comparison, it's a very different story with a black doctor compared to a white doctor. Like, that's just, you can't tell the same stories. And that's one of the things I loved about this, is that they could finally tell stories like that.
And let's get an Asian doctor so we can have all the Asian cultures and everything, the Tamakis, all the stories from back then,
Exactly. So we'll see where that goes. I love that Joe Martin's had a cameo. I don't love the cameo.
It's too short. It was too short.
Not even that it was too short. Just that it
and I told you there was a surprise last week.
We may get in. We'll probably, I hope, get more information coming in. But like many of her cameos that have been just in and out, why? Where did that come from? The Doctor doesn't remember these things. Now we're talking, as was pointed out, stories are leaking out, things are crossing over. We're literally talking about the daughter of a story god and a would-be let's call it what it is, a would-be story god.
Yes.
He wants to be the god. And there is plenty of stories of humans that get elevated to the level of gods.
Now you got me thinking about Mrs. Flood being one of Anansi's daughters, because she's a storyteller.
I don't
breaking the fourth wall.
I don't think that, especially having brought that in and it being a very much an African myth, I cannot see them doing that.
Unless it's the other storyteller.
The daughter of a story god, maybe, because there is rumors that Loki, the main bad guy guest star next week, might be Loki. Loki. And that the Norse gods are going to be appearing in that. So that's it. But this has been interesting because we didn't get it. Clearly ties into the overall theme of gods in this season, but we didn't. He could have been played as a harbinger. He wasn't. The Barber was not.
Yeah.
So that it's and hopefully that comes back to point that out, that there are people that interact with gods that are not necessarily on the bad side of things.
Well, I mean, what I anticipate is that it, like, sort of RTD handling the issues that a lot of people had with changing the mythology so drastically during Chibnall was, of course, the toy maker just sort of broke and reworked reality as part of a game with the master. And that was, all of that and stuff is new. None of it existed during any previous Doctor's lifetime. It now is the history according to that. And I kind of like the cracks starting to show at everything, and even like memories existing or not existing from that time period. It kind of ties into the fact that, well, the toy maker also isn't like the most powerful god of the pantheon that may exist in this universe. He's just one of them, and his work might have been a little slapdash.
Well, did you see when Belinda walked by the Hindu god when she came into the room and everything? If you looked in the background, he saw Hemingway. She walked by the Hindu god, and her name is Chandra, which is the Hindu god of mythology and everything. the night god, the god of the moon and stuff. And so what if she's a god in disguise?
Mm-hmm.
And there was also Pan in there. We point out there was Hemingway book, multiple different televisions. We didn't even touch on the fact that the Doctor was able to go, hey, look, don't forget, this is me. My story never ends.
Right.
And not just his 6-word story of I'm born, I die, I'm born, but the whole everything with that was pretty impressive.
And that is a story because he's born, he dies, and then regenerates. So he's born again.
Exactly. But there was so many little Easter eggs that I'd have to go through. People with somebody's probably doing a video of it somewhere on YouTube of all of just that engine chamber. You mentioned earlier here, it's the tree of life. When it opened up, it looked like a brain when it's closed.
Right.
It opened up to being the tree of life.
Or the tree of knowledge.
Yeah, or tree of knowledge. Pick a mythology. And I loved that. And I'm sure that the heart being a physical heart being in the middle of a tree is part of one of those tree of X myths. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, sadly, but it was really well done.
Just a little question. When it was going through the trickster gods, did they mention Sun Wukong?
I don't believe so.
He didn't say anything about Loki. You mentioned Thor.
The story gods, which are not quite the same. Sometimes they're the same, but not always.
Okay. Because I was going through tricksters, and that's why I was just getting confused. Are we talking about story gods or are we talking about tricksters?
We were talking about story gods. But
they tend to overlap, but yes, that's a good. That is an important distinction.
Yeah, they do tend to overlap, but yeah, it was very much that. So just taking a look back through, and we Tom has brought some of these up throughout the course, but Raj gave it a solid 9 out of 10 because of Joe Martin's return, even though it was brief. And Captain Poppy's little pop in. I can't Poppy's pop in. No. The story engine currently rates 7.7 out of 10 out of 37 rankings and reviews on the thank you timescales. We've got Dan scored it an 8. Didn't like the villain, but the heroes were great. I disagree. I really liked the villain. I thought he was appropriate. He was strong when he needed to be strong, and this is he was human dealing with gods. It doesn't take much to
break somebody.
Yeah, he's already on the edge. Nicobot gave it an 8. Hard to pick out one thing. The animation and the story window added to the stories beautifully.
That's why you have to see the prequel. It's really pretty.
I love Abby's history lesson about her and the Doctor. Agreed. I'd love to come back and see that happen again, and maybe we will. That's the cool thing, is we could potentially see more of that down the road somewhere.
Big Finish, or even the reality one.
Especially since it seems to have been established that was Joe Martin's Doctor, and there's so many of her stories that are out there. There are several comic book stories that have been told that are canon to her story as well. I don't know if I clicked that wrong or if he posted that twice, but yeah. And yeah, Captain Poppy wasn't much older. These were filmed relatively back to back.
Weren't they older to begin with because they were suspended and because of their age and everything? They were suspended because they were already older.
Possibly.
Yeah, I was trying to remember from the episode and everything because I wanted to rewatch it.
Yeah, and there's Dalexer Forever had the comment. It was a love letter from Ellams to an RTD to Nigeria. So yeah, that's
okay. Can someone confirm to me, is Ansi a Nigerian story or Ghanese story? Because when I've done some little bit of research, it's saying it comes from more of a Ghanese region rather than Nigeria.
I was raised. Anansi's in Haitian too. I've heard it from Haitian. I knew about Anansi from my Haitian cousins. That's how I knew about it.
Anansi is oral tradition, so I mean he appears in subtle variations across a lot of African mythology, and especially colonial, because I mean
slaves and
all that greatness. I don't remember specifically what region is considered, his origin, though.
Yeah, hard to tell. Kess, and this is the first time Kess has commented. Kess the drone, 10 out of 10. Welcome, Kess. Glad to have you here. Please come back for our future reviews and comment. But that is kind of where we're at. We all,
this is the shortest we've been.
I know.
Wow.
What happened?
It's
I can
amazing.
keep talking if you want.
How about you got any books to promote? Like I got? You got some books to promote?
What have you got? What have you got? Yeah, just since
let's
you
see.
since you
Like I
mentioned it.
said, I'm on Lulu.com, some Amazon sites. I think they discontinued it in England. I got to find out what happened because I just checked. But Copley and Newcastle Journey and Beyond was the story that I went in 2016. Thought I found love. Did I find love? You have to read to find out. But I did get to see the Doctor Who experience, but because of copyright, I had to give it a different name and everything. I got to see some of the sites that were in the areas because I went down and saw A Midsummer's Night's Dream in where is it? How's it called? Stratford upon
Avon.
Avon and everything. And I got to see the Swans and everything. I was in the Swan Theater. I got to see David Tennant's Macbeth costume and everything and stuff, but they wouldn't let me take a picture of it. I wanted to hug it and everything. But it was an interesting trip and everything. And it's a good read, guys, and everything, if you're just wanting to find out some crazy stuff. I know a few of you have read it and everything, but this is my pride and joy, and I really want to work on the other ones. But if you are autistic and dyslexic, or just don't know how to play certain Dungeons and Dragons games, or you can't be part of Magic the Gathering, it's a simple book and everything. It's got little things inside and all that. It teaches you the simplest way to play Dungeons and Dragons. And this one's about mythological with gemstones and everything. My other ones I was working on was a time traveler in a box space. There was a Star Trekian based one and everything, but those are all on the in the computer somewhere until I can get a chance to finish. But this was the first one, and we even had a child with autism be our junior dungeon master, and he beat out someone who doesn't have a disability, and he found this was a lot easier. Even his parents said they enjoyed this because he doesn't take to things very well. So it's easy read. You have a senior dungeon master and a junior dungeon master in it too, so even both people can play at the same time. Nice. And I recommend, if you guys want it, it's lulu.com. You can check Amazon, everything. I do have links on pages on Instagram and everything. I'm working on trying to get a commercial that might air here, but it has a little glitch in it. So if the guys want to fix it for me and show me how to do a QR code, we're set.
Dave, can you pull out Darlet Liz Matter's quote about the trouble with oral traditions?
Yes. I just wanted to say hello to Poison Ivy, but I can definitely go back to that. Yes.
But nobody else has anything they want to promote? Anything?
Oh, we'll get back through.
Okay.
We'll get to everybody.
See, that, yes and no, because, yes, it is inconsistency and it is unreliable. I'll give Darla that. But it makes some good stories. Look at King Arthur.
Yes.
Look at Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm. And just out of curiosity, are anything of King Arthur and Robin Hood consistent that are written down?
No.
Pendragon.
Hello, Pendragon.
And yes, I perfectly accept that historically they may be inconsistent and unreliable, but some of the stories which are passed down by oral tradition are some of the best stories.
Wasn't there a king found in Wales that had the name of Arthur, and they took the story from that or something? Because they did find the castle, they dug it up and everything, and they did prove there was a king, but he had a different way of pronouncing Arthur, and it turned into that.
It's the problem we got is whether or not Arthur was actually Welsh or whether Arthur was Roman.
That's the one I was talking about. I saw that documentary and everything.
La Morte d'Arthur is far after the beginning of the legends.
Uther, I think
that's somebody writing it down. I mean, the same way that the rhyme of Robin Hood. I mean, Robin Hood actually is newer to storytelling than either Maid Marian or Friar Tuck. They both had rhymes and songs about them long before he did.
Head alert.
Yes. I've got Scarlet here.
He wants to hear stories.
And but like there's and people are always trying to point out that find the original Robin Hood or historical. That one's an even bigger laugh because there was no historical Robin Hood.
Or was there?
No, there wasn't. Because the tales of Robin Hood grew out of the tales. There's a number of suspected origins. The Green Man or Robin Goodfellow or your various May Day spirits of the woods are generally the origins of that. They get married into some images around Norman soldiers, particularly the whole archery thing that during the Norman or shortly after the Norman conquest. And that's the thing. They're like Robin Hood. I mean, if there was, let's suppose that there may have been a historical Robin Hood, he's not going to be in Sherwood Forest because his stories started in Barnesdale and were about Barnesdale Forest.
But wasn't this is where what you're saying is by it being unreliable, because wasn't it merged from like Adam Bell? He was also a thief, but a couple hundred years beforehand, and they sort of like merged, those two stories sort of merged into Robin Hood.
I'd need to know what time period he was in I don't recall that. It may have come, like I know more than average on this subject because I did a joint history/literature crossover credit class in university. And like, it was hilarious that it was in history. All the history students were supremely pissed off that they walked in on the first day and they basically said, yeah, there was no historical Robin Hood. Here's elements of it in places, but and so I don't remember Adam Bell, you said?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll look into it.
Another person before the story of Robin Hood who was a thief, but he was more Yorkshire rather than Nottinghamshire.
Okay. I'd have to look into it and see, because we're talking. The one thing I can remember very clearly right now is that we don't have any of the original songs of Robin Hood. They are mentioned in another text around the 13th century, I think, and none of the actual texts that we have are from before that, or from that period, for that matter. They start up later on.
Right.
It's not based around the times of the Crusades. That's the thing.
Robin Hood.
Well, this is the storytelling episode, so we have to tell stories.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's the Crusades is a later edition,
and Robin Hood was in Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yes,
it's true.
But that's why the Doctor is very adamant that he didn't exist. Because he's a robot. It's purely mythological. There is no actual historical figure. So Robert of Locksley comes from a telling of Robin Hood that is what, 15th century, 16th century? I don't remember clearly. But that is like Robert of Locksley is what they sort of. It's once the aristocracy wants to, who are all descended from the Normans who invaded Britain and became the aristocracy. That's when you get those stories told that he is a nobleman who decided to fight against other corrupt nobles. Kind of the way that Shakespeare made Mackers or made Banquo in the Scottish play, the tragic victim of Macker's villainy, because James is rumored to have been descended from Banquo.
And there we go.
Cats are gonna cat. What can I say?
Cats are gonna cat.
Yeah, they're gonna cat. I've got bruises for mine.
So where else can we? While we've got you talking, where else can we find you and more of your thoughts?
And why aren't the colleges hiring you as a researcher?
Because I
would have loved you as a teacher.
Yeah, well, crossingthethemes.wordpress.com. It's my blog, and it may actually see an update soon, which would be a nice novelty for something that I haven't updated in over a month.
You should definitely do that because we like seeing what you have to say. And Candyman, where can we find you?
You can find me here at The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And you can also find me over at Spill the Geek Tea, where we just talk about anything and everything. And it's quite really random stuff. Anywhere from Star Wars to pizza with honey.
And toothpaste.
And toothpaste. And spilling actual tea on a keyboard by accident. I've still got sticky keys.
You didn't get the baking soda?
Get out the vacuum like I did.
And Rev, where can we find you?
You can find me at the same place you can find the Candyman.
All right, well they made that easy.
Yeah.
And on Tasty Talk with Tasty Cake, Wednesdays and Friday. I'm going to do that again. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where I talk about things I won't talk about on Spill the Geek Tea because a little bit too much. Harsh.
In theory.
Fair enough. Keyboard, so that's very nice too.
Exactly. As for the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, we'll get to me in a second because I can. We'll be at Space Coast Comic-Con June 14th and 15th. So if you're going to be at Space Coast Comic-Con, please stop, say hello. You'll notice in my background that the Traveling TARDIS has been replaced with a kobold because he is on his way back to Christian.
You packaged that thing really well, right?
Packaged it
That's
really
his baby.
well. Yep, packaged it up and sent it off to Christian. So
I'm just going to check one thing while we're on the air.
A little bit of time. Yes.
How much was shipping? I want to know that one.
He didn't have the tariff problem, right?
And that was the cheap one.
I think we need to check something because I think we might be hitting it. 60. I think it keeps fluctuating. It's going back and forth. It's going 59 and 60. I'm looking at it. It keeps going back when I was checking.
Let's take a look here.
See what it is? It was fluctuating before. I didn't want to say anything until the end, so I knew what we had.
Let come up for me.
That sounded dirty.
It's still showing me 59.9.
Okay.
So
it was fluctuating.
We're really close, folks. We are really close to that
60.
That's 60.
60, yep.
So we'll have a glass of wine for us. But yes, we're so close. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We are way closer than that number. That was where we were at just before the show went live.
Mm-hmm.
And we're closer. I can't tell exactly how many we've got from my view, but we're getting there. As well as Space Coast Comic-Con, we will be at Ancient City Comic-Con. Ancient City Con, sorry, in September 12th to 14th in St. Augustine, Florida.
Everybody got their hotel room and tickets?
Yeah, so definitely pick that up. Stop in, say hello at those two conventions, and we'll see you then. As for me, you can find me on my main YouTube site, youtube.com/TheRatHole.CA. As well, scroll down.
Where?
There it is. TheRatHole.CA. And on June 5th, so in about 3 weeks' time, first episode of the Happiness Patrol will drop. That's youtube.com/@HappinessPatrolShow. Those capital letters apparently do matter. as well, you can find me in about a little under 90 minutes. I'm going to be over. Oh, I did actually let that in the exact right place. I was when I make these covers, I was hoping I don't make it in StreamYard, so I can't see how much space there is for that scrolling ticker at the bottom. So I wasn't sure if it was going to cover the play along or not. Conveniently, the answer is not. I'll be playing Snack Time, which is a roll and write game from Backfire Games Studio, and you can play along. You can go to backfiregames.com/game/snack-time, and you can actually download the gameplay boards, like so. Here's the regular sized one. Here's the and they have them in full color. They've got them in less color. And I recommend the less color in actual black and white. You can see some of the grayscale stuff better in grayscale than you can in the pseudo color. But you can download those at backfiregames.com/game/snack-time, and then join me over on the TheRatHole.CA in a little under 90 minutes, a little bit over 80 minutes.
What did you do? I hear snickering.
Cat butt.
Yep.
Oh, God.
That'll do it. Yep.
Yeah. My attempt was all I do on my YouTube channel was try to open up 2 packages, and I just gave up. I was like,
yeah, I knew I've had a couple of packages come in that I would normally do on the air, but we've been going so late that I haven't.
Well, no, my friend decided when she packed the 3 boxes, I go to open them up and I'm like, okay, what is this? I see a bag. I thought it was a purse this big. It turned out to be a duffel bag this big, and it's still full of stuff I got to do. So I got another unboxing of the bag.
Yeah. All right. So with all of that having been said,
and there's Charlotte.
Make sure you say goodbye in the comments. We'll say goodnight to our good friend Simon. Good night, Simon. And we will take and Simon's wonderful as I babble and try and find the button I'm looking for. I know what it is. Night, Simon. Take it away, Tony.
Night, Simon.
Night, Simon.
Love you.